We spend our lives chasing dreams, success, approval, and sometimes even things we don't truly want, just because the world told us they mattered. We rush, we plan, we build. We accumulate achievements, possessions, followers, and yet, rarely do we pause to ask, why am I really doing all of this? But life has a way of stopping us. Sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. And nothing stops us more abruptly than the moment we come face to face with death, whether it's the loss of someone close or the terrifying realization of our own mortality. In that quiet space where time seems to hold its breath, all the noise of life fades. And what remains is the truth. A truth that cannot be denied or delayed. Because when death stands at the door, you begin to see life with a clarity you never had before. You begin to realize what truly matters and what never did. Let us take this journey together, not into darkness, but into awareness. Into the heart of what it means to live when you finally understand that you won't live forever. The illusion of permanence. We live as if we have forever. It sounds strange, but think about it, we make plans for 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and beyond. We postpone phone calls to loved ones, delay pursuing dreams, and convince ourselves that we'll get to it later. We assume we have time. And in doing so, we fall into one of the greatest illusions of life, the illusion of permanence. But permanence is a lie. Life is not a guarantee. It is a gift, fragile, fleeting, and astonishingly unpredictable. Every breath we take, every heartbeat we feel, is on loan. Yet we treat it like it's ours to keep. From the moment we are born, we are taught how to live, how to succeed, how to grow, how to compete. But almost no one teaches us how to die. And because we don't learn how to die, we also don't truly learn how to live. We live in denial of death, as if ignoring it will make it disappear. We buy more things, chase more goals, and distract ourselves endlessly. Not because we are bad people, but because the modern world rewards speed, not stillness. It rewards achievement, not awareness. And so, we measure life by how much we can do, not how deeply we can feel. But death doesn't care how many emails you sent or how many followers you gained. When death arrives, and it will, all the noise goes silent. And in that silence, the illusion shatters. Many people report that it's only when they or someone close to them faces death that they finally begin to see clearly. They realize how much time they wasted on things that never mattered. They see how they let fear stop them from speaking the truth, from loving fully, from taking bold steps into the unknown. You may have seen it happen. A friend who is suddenly diagnosed with a terminal illness, and suddenly, they start living more fully than ever before. They quit the job they hate. They spend more time with their family. They take that trip they always dreamed of. They begin to live not out of habit, but out of awareness. They live with the knowledge that time is no longer a vague promise. It is a ticking clock. But why wait until death comes knocking to live that way? Why do we need a tragedy to remind us of what's truly important? Because we are afraid. Afraid of death, yes, but also afraid of life. Afraid of truly living in a way that demands courage, presence, and authenticity. It's easier to stay busy than it is to be honest. It's easier to believe we'll live forever than to face the reality that we won't. But the truth is, when we deny death, we deny life. When we pretend we have all the time in the world, we forget to use the time we do have wisely. There's a story about a monk who was once asked what the greatest lesson of life was. He answered, "People die every day. They just think it won't happen to them." That one sentence captures the blindness most of us live with. We know people die. We read about it, we see it in movies, we attend funerals. But deep inside, we think, not me, not yet. So we postpone. We hold grudges. We don't say, "I love you." We don't forgive. We don't follow the whisper in our soul telling us to try something different. But what if we changed that? What if we woke up each day not with dread, but with the clarity that this day is a miracle, because it is? What if we stopped assuming we'll always have tomorrow, and started asking, if today was all I had, how would I live it? This isn't about being morbid. It's about being alive. It's about breaking free from the illusion of permanence so we can start making choices that reflect what truly matters. It's about daring to live a life that, if it ended tomorrow, we would be proud of. Imagine how your life would shift if you lived each moment with the understanding that it could be your last, not in fear, but in freedom. You might let go of old resentment. You might pick up the phone and call that person you've been thinking about. You might start writing the book, singing the song, painting the canvas you've kept hidden for years. You might sit quietly and feel grateful, for no reason other than you are still here, still breathing, still capable of love, of growth, of change. You might finally begin to live. The illusion of permanence keeps us in chains. But the awareness of death? That can set us free. So I ask you now, what are you waiting for? What would you do differently if you knew, truly knew, that your time is limited? Because it is. And that's not a reason to panic, it's a reason to wake up. To live fully. To love deeply. To speak honestly. To forgive quickly. To risk boldly. Because in the end, it's not about how long you live. It's about how alive you are while you're living. And that begins the moment you break free from the illusion of permanence and choose, instead, to live as if your time is now. Because it is. What truly matters? When you strip away all the distractions, the noise, the chaos, what's left? This is the question that echoes in the minds of those who stand on the edge of life, looking back. It's the question whispered in hospital rooms, on quiet walks through cemeteries, in the final conversations of those who know their time is short. And the answer is never, I wish I had bought more things. It's never, I wish I had spent more time at the office. It's never, I wish I had posted more on social media. No. The answers, almost always, are softer. Simpler. Deeper. I wish I had spent more time with the people I love. I wish I had been kinder. I wish I had allowed myself to be happy. I wish I had been more present, more grateful. I wish I had truly lived. When death comes close, it becomes painfully clear what matters, and what doesn't. What matters is not what you have, but what you gave. Not how often you won, but how deeply you loved. Not how loudly you were heard, but how well you listened. Not how many people knew your name, but how many hearts you truly touched. We spend so much of our lives chasing external validation, titles, applause, admiration. We fight for status, for control, for the illusion of being untouchable. But death is the great equalizer. It humbles kings and commoners alike. And in its presence, all those trophies we worked so hard for suddenly seem hollow. In the end, it's the little things that matter most. The late-night talks with a friend when your world was falling apart. The gentle hand of someone holding yours in silence. The laughter that made you forget everything else for just a moment. The forgiveness you gave, or received, that set you both free. The way your eyes met someone's and they knew, truly knew, you understood them. These are the things that linger. Because at our core, we are not machines built for productivity. We are human beings built for connection. And when death comes near, it doesn't ask what you built. It asks who you became. It asks how much love you gave, how much truth you lived, and how much beauty you created in the lives of others. But why wait until the end to see this? Why must it take loss to make us appreciate what we have? There is a concept in Japanese philosophy called mono no aware. It speaks to the bittersweet awareness of the impermanence of things and how that impermanence makes them more beautiful. A cherry blossom is cherished not because it lasts forever, but because it does not. Its short life makes its presence more meaningful. In the same way, our lives gain meaning when we stop taking them for granted. When we begin to see every moment, every relationship, every breath as something precious, not because it will last, but because it won't. This awareness changes the way we live. We begin to say, I love you more often, and mean it. We apologize faster, and with more humility. We look our children in the eyes when they speak to us, because we realize those moments are numbered. We put down our phones. We stop pretending. We become real. And in that realness, we find what we were chasing all along: peace, purpose, connection. What truly matters is living in such a way that if you had to leave tomorrow, your heart would be full, not heavy with regret. It's about giving your time, your presence, your love, not someday, but now. It's about living a life so true, so honest, that your absence would not only be mourned, but your presence will have left a lasting light behind. Many people say they're afraid of dying. But if you look closely, you'll see that what they're really afraid of is not having lived. We fear wasting our time, our gifts, our chances. We fear looking back and realizing that we let fear decide for us. That we never showed the world who we really were. That we lived safe instead of meaningful. But it's not too late. Not yet. Right now, in this very moment, you are alive. That is your miracle. You still have time to shift, to soften, to choose again. You still have time to write that letter, to mend that relationship, to hug longer, to laugh louder, to cry freely, to say what you've been holding in your heart for too long. You still have time to stop chasing what doesn't matter and start honoring what does. Because what truly matters is not out there, it's already within you. It's in your ability to love, to give, to feel, to create, to forgive, to be present. That is where meaning lives. So ask yourself right now, if I had just one more year, or one more month, or even one more day, how would I live it? And whatever your answer is, live that way now. Because the secret isn't waiting until death to teach us how to live. The secret is letting death remind us what's important and choosing to live accordingly. Not tomorrow. Today. Regrets and redemption. When people near the end of their lives, they don't speak of their successes. They speak of their regrets. Regrets have a unique weight. They don't scream, they whisper. But their whispers are relentless. I should have, if only I had, why didn't I? They haunt us not because we made mistakes, but because we never allowed ourselves to correct them. Not because we failed, but because we were too afraid to try. The most common regrets aren't about what people did. They're about what they didn't do. They didn't speak up. They didn't tell someone how much they loved them. They didn't follow their passion. They didn't live the life they truly wanted because they were too busy living the life others expected. And the saddest part is, most of them didn't realize it until it was too late. But here's the truth. If you're reading this, if you're breathing, it's not too late. Yes, regret is painful. But it can also be powerful. Because regret is not a punishment. It's a wake-up call. It's life asking you, will you keep postponing what your soul is begging you to do? Will you keep hiding who you really are? Or will you make a different choice, now, while there's still time? Redemption is not a dramatic act. It's not about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming your future. One choice at a time. One conversation at a time. One brave moment at a time. You may have lived half your life in fear. But the other half doesn't have to be the same. You may have spent years chasing approval. But starting today, you can chase meaning instead. You may have burned bridges. But you can build new ones, or rebuild the old, with honesty and humility. You may have stayed silent for too long. But you can choose now to speak, to sing, to scream the truth of who you are. We are all human. We fall. We fail. We run away from what matters. But none of that defines us. What defines us is what we do next. There is no expiration date on change. No age limit on growth. No deadline for forgiveness. Redemption is not reserved for saints. It's available to anyone who dares to stop pretending and start living differently. Let me tell you a secret. The people who inspire us most are not the ones who lived perfect lives. They're the ones who faced their regrets and turned them into fuel. They're the ones who said, I was lost, but I found my way. You can be that person. You don't need anyone's permission. You just need the courage to begin. Yes, it may be messy. Yes, you may stumble. Yes, not everyone will understand. But that's okay. Because your life is not meant to be a performance. It's meant to be an unfolding, a becoming, a return to the truth, a return to love, a return to what matters. And regret, when faced with open eyes and an open heart, becomes the doorway to that return. So here's what I invite you to do. Look your regrets in the eye. Not with shame, but with compassion. Ask them what they're trying to teach you. Maybe they're pointing you to a relationship you need to heal. Maybe they're calling you back to a dream you abandoned. Maybe they're reminding you that you still have time to become the person you were always meant to be. Don't run from them. Let them guide you. Regret is not your enemy. It's your soul's way of saying, I know you were made for more. And that more, that redemption, doesn't happen someday. It begins with a single step. A call you make. An apology you offer. A journal entry you finally write. A truth you speak aloud, even if your voice shakes. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are not broken beyond repair. You are human. And humans get to begin again. So take that step. Reclaim your voice. Reconnect with your values. Reach out to the people you love. Recommit to living on purpose. Because at the end of the road, it won't be about whether you made all the right choices. It will be about whether you found your way back to what truly mattered. And you still can. That's the power of regret and the promise of redemption. Living with death in mind. We all know we're going to die. But most of us live as if we've forgotten. We plan for the future like it's guaranteed. We scroll through our phones, numb to the passing minutes. We avoid deep conversations. We put off healing. We act like we'll always have another chance. And yet, the truth is this, one day, there will be no more chances. One day, you will say goodbye for the last time, though you may not know it's the last. One day, your voice will speak its final word. Your hands will touch their final page. Your eyes will look up at the sky for the last time. This is not morbid. This is sacred. Because when we live with death in mind, we begin to truly live. Not in fear, but in clarity. In presence. In reverence. Think of how different life feels when you know something is about to end. A sunset feels more beautiful when you know it will soon disappear behind the horizon. A goodbye hug lasts longer when you're not sure when you'll see someone again. The final scene of a movie, the last page of a great book, they stay with you because they're final. Now imagine living your life with that kind of attention. That kind of care. That kind of awe. When you remember that death is always nearby, and not as a threat, but as a quiet companion, you begin to see your time differently. The little moments become big. A shared laugh. A warm cup of coffee. The feel of sunlight on your skin. These aren't just passing experiences, they are sacred gifts. You start to listen more carefully. You speak more kindly. You hold less anger. You give more freely. You let go of things that don't matter, the petty arguments, the grudges, the need to be right, the obsession with being seen. You stop wasting time chasing what the world says is important. And you start living in alignment with what your soul knows is true. Because death is not the enemy of life. It is the reminder to honor life. To not take this day, this hour, this breath, for granted. You see, when you live with death in mind, you stop asking, how can I get more? And you start asking, how can I give more? How can I love more? How can I leave something behind that lasts beyond me? Because that's the paradox. When we accept the temporary nature of life, we begin to build a legacy that is eternal. Not in stone, but in hearts. In memories. In impact. You don't have to be famous to live a meaningful life. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need perfect health or perfect timing or perfect anything. You just need presence. You just need to be here, fully, for the life you've been given. To look into the eyes of someone you love and truly see them. To say what needs to be said. To choose courage over comfort. To forgive again and again, because bitterness is too heavy to carry when time is short. To risk your heart, even if it might break. To walk away from things that steal your peace. To make art. To make memories. To make meaning. To leave behind not just things, but light. Because one day, you will go. We all will. And when that day comes, what will remain? It won't be your possessions. It won't be your titles. It won't be your bank account. It will be how you made people feel. How bravely you lived. How deeply you loved. How honestly you showed up. The people you encouraged. The lives you touched. The pain you helped carry. The joy you spread. The truth you told. These are the echoes of a life well lived. So let death be your teacher, not your fear. Let it teach you to stop waiting. To stop numbing. To stop pretending you have forever. Let it teach you to live wildly, openly, intentionally. Because if you live with death in mind, you'll never again waste a single moment. You'll choose presence over perfection. Connection over convenience. Grace over judgment. Love over ego. You'll remember what truly matters, and you'll build your life around it. And when your time comes, whenever that may be, you will not meet death with panic. You will meet it with peace. Because you will know. You didn't just exist. You lived. Fully. Bravely. Beautifully. And that is the greatest triumph of all.